Oh, this week, another judge ruled that President Trump's deployment of thousands of National Guards to Washington, D.C. violates federal law and must come to an end. Well, this comes months after federal agents were originally ordered to the nation's capital back in August. Although Judge Gia Cobb, shocker here, a Biden appointee, paused her ruling, she did give the administration 21 days to appeal. So Jared Stepman and Gabriela Berrospi are with us still. So the federal judge said that Trump overstepped, but he can protect federal property. He doesn't have free rein to use guard troops for broad crime fighting in the city. The numbers are in, though. I mean, since Trump has sent the guard there, crime has dropped pretty dramatically. So, Gabriela, I mean, this is going on all over the place, right? You go find a federal judge who is either Obama appointed or Biden appointed. You get the ruling you want, and, you know, everything's on pause. This is just, like, nonsensical, and it's just not going to stop.
I think it raises a critical question, which is, who's really in charge? The Capitol is going to be protected under what authority? I think that's the number one question we need to answer. The American people deserve clarity, transparency, and as far as I'm concerned, the president's in charge of a National Guard. So this just shows how that line of authority is getting blurred in D.C., and I think the American people don't deserve that.
Yeah, well, I think that's a good point, Jared. You have, you know, the Black Road Mafia that really are running things in this country as much as they can. Whether it's lawful or not, they'll figure out a way in their decision to make a case. But there's going to come a point where we're going to be in a crisis. They're going to do something beyond wacky. We've seen some of that, Boasberg and others. And either the executive branch, in this case Trump, is going to have to ignore it, or, you know, it's going to have to get a Supreme Court decision, which takes time.
It does take time. I think the Supreme Court has a lot of incentive to crack down on a lot of these cases, and they have constrained some of these decisions, because I think it does affect the efficacy of the courts in this country. If people think that they're simply partisan entities playing politics, especially with something like public safety in the federal Capitol, that's a very bad thing. I will say in this particular situation, you could see, I would say even leaders in Washington, D.C., Mayor Muriel Bowser, probably doesn't want the courts to win here. Crime has gone down in her city. She's getting a lot of pressure from the federal government right now. There's some talking about ending home rule in Washington, D.C. because it's so crime-ridden. I think there are people, even Democrats in D.C., are quietly happy with what's happened here and don't actually want to see those National Guard troops actually leave.
My guess, the residents of D.C. are probably pretty happy, too.
Even more so.
Definitely. But, I mean, we were just talking about, like, the broader picture here. And you have the judicial branch, which has become, I think, way too powerful, and more powerful than the other two. And, you know, doing things, they were supposed to say yes or no on a lot of that's their role, yes or no. Now they've taken it upon themselves. By the way, not just now. They've done this through the decades. They've assumed power that's not theirs. They rewrite laws. They appropriate. I mean, things they're not supposed to do. But this is a pretty clear cut that the federal government, with regard to public safety, the armed services, the National Guard, immigration, that is pretty much the purview of the president. And he's being told no, no, no in so many different ways, Jared. And I don't know where this ends up.
Yeah, it's hard to see where it ends up. The District of Columbia was created to protect members of Congress, the seat of our federal government. If they can't do that job there, then it is up to Congress and the president to step in and take charge. Crime has been out of control. Disorder has been a huge problem in the city, especially since post-COVID and a lot of the riots that took place in the city. Things have been very bad there. This is just a step to get that under control. I mean, there have been members of Congress who've been carjacked in the city. That's a very serious problem. That's what the district was created to prevent, and that's not what's happening in the current administration. President Trump has walked in and tried to deal with this matter. I think, as I said, a lot of people quietly happy that he's done so. So hopefully that prevails ultimately in this case.
But Gabriela, you know, you've got the Democratic Party rooting on these decisions for, you know, political reasons, ideological reasons. But then they take it a step further, and you've got the J.D. Pritzkers and so many others who are, in many ways, giving a wink and a nod to people to fight back, you know, physically fight back after law enforcement or the National Guard, you know, attack them, that what they're doing is illegal and they're monsters and they're kidnapping people. I mean, it's just it's really insane.
Yes, I mean, look, we can't run national security on guesswork, and I think that's what's happening right now. It almost occurs to me as if we're improvising. There is no clarity about who's in charge and who's supposed to do what and what's allowed, and the lines just keep getting blurred, so we need some more clarity.
Yep.